Last week I made a video about the Jazz 3-0 start and Lauri Markanen's shift towards an all-star level player. However, most people at the time thought the record was more of a fluke and unsustainable. Fast forward to 2 weeks into the season and the Utah Jazz sit at 6-2 and in third place in a strong Western Conference. But I'm here today to tell you that this hot start from the Jazz is no fluke and is very much sustainable. So far, the Jazz have beaten the Nuggets, Timberwolves, Pelicans, Rockets, and the Grizzlies twice. 4 out of the 5 teams they've beaten were projected playoff teams before the season started and have one, if not multiple, all-star level players. The Jazz are not beating up on bad teams, they're thriving against good competition, and while they might not yet have a superstar player, the team is just built up of tons of quality NBA players, almost like a lesser sense of the 2004 Pistons team. The cohesion and accepting of roles we're seeing from this Jazz team is uncommon, and first-year coach Will Hardy is an early favorite for Coach of the Year. But to understand how the Jazz have become this good, why it's sustainable, and how the Jazz could get even better, let's look at the individual pieces. Let's start with the most obvious piece for the Jazz success, their star player Lauri Markkanen. I've seen this man going by many nicknames across the NBA world lately, from Larry Bird to the Marksman to his original nickname, the Finisher. But the important thing to know about him so far is that if the All-Star game was today, Lauri Markkanen would definitively be an All-Star starter. He's been that good. After his 31-point outing last night, Lauri is now averaging 23 points per game, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. His numbers have ticked up even more from the 3-game start he had, and he just continues to look more and more confident in a lead role. His 3-point shooting is beginning to come closer to the norm, as his 3-point percentage is up from 27% 3 games into the season to 32% now, and we should see it climb towards his career average of 36%. As Lauri continues to become more confident and his 3-ball begins to go in more, there's a good chance we could see Lauri averaging somewhere around 25 to 27 points per game to go along with 10 rebounds. He's fully embraced playing the small forward spot over the last 2 seasons and has done a great job at improving his lateral movement and perimeter defense as well. Markkanen continues to look better every game, and if he can keep the Jazz with the top 3 or 4 seed in the West, he'll legitimately be in the MVP conversation, a place no one had him to start the season. The next player that's been really important for Utah's success is Jordan Clarkson. He's averaging 17, 5, and 5, and even though his efficiency has been pretty poor, at 40% from the field and 36% from 3, his confidence has had a noticeable effect on the team. Clarkson has never been the most efficient player in the league as a spark plug bench scorer for most of his career so far, but his shooting splits should tick up as well, and Clarkson could continue to look better throughout the season. It's his first time in a role this big, and he's adjusting to it. It'll just take some time. The Jazz third leading scorer has been Kelly Olynyk, who's averaging 13 points per game for them, while shooting the ball at a crazy 57% clip from 3 so far. Expect Olynyk's efficiency to regress a little bit, but he's a perfect complementary spot-up shooter to Markkanen and Clarkson's driving abilities. He doesn't provide a ton outside of shooting, but he fits his role well, and the spacing he creates makes other players' jobs easier. The biggest wild card for the Jazz is 100% Colin Sexton, who is coming off of a serious meniscus injury from last season. Sexton is averaging 12.5 points off the bench in just under 20 minutes per game. In his last full season, Sexton averaged 24 points per game on pretty good efficiency, and if he can get anywhere near that production again, it will take the Jazz to a whole nother level, and give them 2 all-star level players in Sexton and Markkanen. The burst is still there, he just needs to become confident in his game again and show he can play starter level minutes. He is legitimately a resting giant for this Jazz team. On top of the 4 players I've mentioned, the Jazz have multiple young players that will only continue to improve as the season goes along. Walker Kessler and Ochai Agbaji are only rookies, and Kessler has already shown some good promise so far. Jared Vanderbilt is the Jazz's most important defender and rebounder, and he's only 23 years old. His offensive output should continue to improve, while he does all the things he's already really good at. Talen Horton-Tucker could also improve throughout the season if given more opportunity, as he showed potential to be a high-level scorer at times in Los Angeles. I can't go this whole video without mentioning Mike Conley, who isn't scoring at a great clip, but his veteran leadership and passing have been huge for this team, and most of the time the offense runs smoothly because of his unselfishness. If the Jazz decide to stay competitive this season like they have so far, then there is a good chance they can remain a playoff team because of all the contributing players they have. It's not out of the question that the Jazz start to sell with trades, because the message they seemed to be sending before the season was that they wanted a top draft pick, but the fans have been ecstatic at their games, and the vibes in Utah right now are electric, so they should ride this if they can. They will get plenty of calls about Markkanen, Clarkson, Vanderbilt, and Conley, but if they turn them down, this team is good and can remain solid all season while potentially only getting better. Lauri Markkanen looks like an all-star, and this team is legitimately one of the most fun teams to watch in the entire NBA right now. Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.